Call this meeting to order for the Sedro Woolley Rotary Club noon meeting, the greatest Rotary Club in the universe. Okay, Lynn.
We're invocating first, right?
Yes, we are.
This is new. This one's a new one for me. Not much of an invocator, but I thought I would just speak a moment to our four-way test and why it's important. So first, is it the truth? Well, what is more important than the truth? Telling the truth, hearing the truth, and understanding the truth. So many things in our world don't work well because the truth isn't being shared. Is it fair to all concerned? Another one that's very, very important. Most of what we should be doing, and hopefully what Keith is doing down there, is trying to be fair to everybody concerned. Next, will it build goodwill and better friendships? I learned when I joined Rotary in 2010, this is one of the best decisions I made as a citizen of the local area here, to be part of the Rotary and get to know you all and the people that ties us all together as a community. And finally, will it be beneficial to all concerned? If you take a look around town, look at the things that Rotary has done that has been beneficial to all concerned. It has been wonderful things that have been done for the citizens of Sedro Woolley, and Rotary was just a big part of that. So it's a pretty important document. And I thought that was a wonderful thing that John brought up a few years ago when he was president, having us recite that every time. And it's meant a lot to me personally, both when I was a police officer and now as an unemployed guy working for my wife. And that's all the invocating I have to do, Mr. President.
Thank you, Lynn. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And I'm not sure who's doing the song today.
Keith, you have a good song for us that on this day?
Let's see, You Are My Sunshine.
There we go. Thank you.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. Nice. Thank you,
And
Keith.
thank you.
Awesome. Okay, do we have any guests today? Any guests? How about visiting Rotarians? Any visiting Rotarians today? Okay. All right, we'll take us right down to club business. The first thing I want to thank is Team May. So Stephen, stand up, and your team, let's congratulate them for a job well done. Yay. All right, one more month. Team June, are you ready to go? Yes, I heard. Okay, budget, we're going to hear a little bit more about the budget in a couple of weeks when we get all the proceeds and everything in from the auction. And then we'll do a little bit of, roll the dice and how much did we make, and maybe make a little money off some guesstimates then. Is that right, Tim? He nods. Yes, yes, sir. Okay. We have an officer slate that we need to approve for the next coming board members. And so here's the slate. Ruth Richardson is president-elect, and Ruth is here today. Rebecca Scrindy is up for a director, and Rebecca is here today. Samantha is also up for a director. I don't think I see Samantha out there. Christina Trader is up for a director. These are 23, 25. Hi, Christina, you're online. Thank you. And Lynn Tucker is up for a foundation director. And so we've got a lot of new officers coming in. And so I want to thank Mark. Mark, where are you at? Nielsen. Stand up, Mark. We need to give Mark a hand because when he calls, he says, well, who should we? Well, Mark, you're the nominating person. So who do you think? And then get back to us and let us know. But Mark has done this work for a long, long time. And I want to thank Mark for the work that you've done in putting together our officers for the club. Job well done. So with that said, is there anybody from the floor that wants to offer any more nominations? There's a nomination to be closed by Bill and the second by Mike. All those in favor say aye. Motion carries. Good job, you guys. Thank you very much. Next week is June 1st. And I've been talking with John Janicki about having a meeting at the Janicki facility in Hamilton. And so he has agreed to host us there next week. It'll be an evening meeting. So that means we will not have an afternoon meeting next Thursday, June, but we'll have an evening meeting starting at 5 o'clock. I don't know the address out there, but everybody knows how to get to Hamilton. So I can send out the address unless somebody has it. If you do have it, let me know and I'll send it out. So that'll be at 5 o'clock at Hamilton next Thursday evening. No food, so we're gonna give Cheryl a break. Cheryl says she needs the week off anyways. So we're gonna do that. But there are, Bird's View is out there. If a few of us want to get together and go to Bird's View or even the restaurant there at the new gas station at Lyman. Okay. So that's what's on the agenda for next week. June 1st, next Thursday, 5 o'clock. I'll send another email out with the directions and everything else and how to get there. Installation, June 30th, right here. And we have the Great Sedro Woolley Run coming up in July. So I don't want to ask, we did that last week. So when you guys get ready to give us more information about that. And the last thing I have is Don Ostrom came in earlier today. And he was been in the hospital the last 3 days. When I came in, Cheryl caught me here. He wasn't looking good, wasn't feeling good, and he went back to the hospital. Not sure exactly what's going on with him on that, but keep him in your prayers and thoughts right now. So just to let you know about Don. Don doesn't miss meetings unless there's something going on. Is there anything else, any other club business? Ruth.
So I'm passing around the final version of the Rotary membership booklet. I'm not sure where it is. Oh, good. They're really looking over the committee assignments at that table. They're really magnifying glass because it's small font and looking it over. I would encourage all of you to look at the assignments, look at your address, look at your phone numbers, cross anything off with the pen that's going around with it and get it back to me by the end of this meeting. I'll be finalizing it and we'll be sending it to print. Our goal is to have it printed and ready for distribution the last week of June. So here you go.
Thanks, Ruth. Sheena.
Everybody should have gotten an email for dues for the incoming year. Payment number 1 came from Danny snapping me a picture of her Venmo payment. So if you pay that way and want to just give me a text, that would be great. And I can check you off and then you won't get late payment notices from me either. So we've got some rolling in and some that are still rolling out from last year. So ta-da. So I think we have at least 10. So we're a 10th of the way there.
Okay. However, we do have some clarification here because I thought we raised it $50 to $200. And the senior rate is still $150, and then they can choose to go up. So we need to talk a little bit more about how that works. Okay. All right. Anything else from the floor? Okay, let's go with the raffle.
We have a raffle. Okay, our first one is number 57, number 57. There we go, Daryl. Sorry. Wah, wah. The second one, number 39, number 39. Another sharp dressed guy coming up to see what he's going to win. All right. Our next one is number 4. Number 4. Whoa. You need to head back to Olympia today. Yeah, with a couple of bottles of wine in your truck. And the last one, number 7. Number 7. Aldi 2 weeks in a row, and he's a big winner. There we go. Raffle complete. Oh, Eric's got something.
So Chris wanted to make sure we mention the fact that there may be other clubs in the community that could possibly sell hot dogs and hamburgers or something at the concert series this summer. So if you guys have any ideas about that, get in touch with Chris, okay? Thank you. You'd have to speak with her about that.
Are we ready for Sergeant at Arms? All right, we're ready to roll into Sergeant at Arms. Everybody pull out your monies. All right, I haven't gotten to do this for a while, and since the police chief isn't here, I'm going to usurp his authority. Anyone that has been stopped by the police in the last year, that will be $1. And let's see, Aldi, would you mind helping pick up money? And Frank, would you mind helping pick up money? Anyone who has not been stopped by the police, you got off lucky, that'll be $2. All right, and the next section here is going to be a collaboration at each one of the tables. So first, we're going to get together as a table and see who has a fishing license or something like a fishing license on them or with them or on an electronic. The second thing, this is kind of a scavenger hunt type thing. If you have a $50 bill, if someone at your table has a $50 bill, this is for the whole table to put something together. The next thing is a picture of your kids or grandkids on your phone, on paper, whatever. The next thing is a key on your keychain that you have no idea what it's for. I have one of those. I was just thinking about this morning. And the final thing, and I had this, Doug and I were sitting there talking, and Mark Venn was asking about why would somebody carry a knife? I don't know why you wouldn't. If you have a pocket knife or something like that. So if you've got those things at your table or missing anything, so who's got at least one of everything at their table? You guys got it? Our table's got it. Travis, has your table got it? Okay, you guys are losers. That's $1. How about this table here? Okay, that'll be $1 for everybody. Yeah, that's not good. Oh, yeah, that's close enough. Are we good? We got everything? All right. On your honor, for everybody that should pay up, please pay up. And Mr. President, that's all I've got. I guess we're into Happy Bucks.
Happy Bucks.
Happy Bucks. Happy Bucks. There we go, Ruth.
I'm just giving Happy Bucks because I didn't get change. So there's Happy 20.
Well, I got a happy 10. I missed the meeting last Thursday because my son, who's in the Army, captain in the Army, was home for the whole week, and it was just an absolutely wonderful time. And then last Sunday, we celebrated my grandson's first birthday, so plenty happy.
And you said captain. Captain.
Here we go, Keith.
There's a happy everything I have, $8. Not happy, unhappy. So I'm advertising right now. I just got told I have 60 days to vacate my hobby shop. So anybody know anyone who's got a shop where I can work on cars and store some of my junky projects? Please let me know. I got 60 days to relocate. I got a happy buck. We had a great camping weekend last week, went with Dylan's and 20 members of the Beta Bunch. Great weekend up at Howard Miller, the jewel of Skagit County for camping. It's a great place if you haven't been there. And a little announcement, friend of mine and I are helping the Legion and the Chamber do Blast from the Past. We found out a few weeks ago, if you're a car guy and watch any of those car TV shows, that Ryan Evans and Horny Mike Henry are going to be here for the car show on Saturday, June 3rd, and kind of a meet and greet and walk around and meet people and things. So it'll be kind of cool to have them in town for a couple days. So if you're into cars and the weather works out great, come on down to the Blast for the Past and walk around the show.
I've got a happy five for the Rotary auction. That during the auction, us and the Eldies were on a boat floating down the Mississippi River, and we missed it. But it sounded like Tim and the whole crew did a great job, and it went really well. And thanks to all those people that made it a success this year. And sorry we missed it.
A happy five for a wonderful camping trip over on the east side of the mountains. And next to Steamboat Rock and Northrop Canyon, we had a wonderful hike till we got back to the camper and took 50 ticks off the dogs and us, but no bites.
Just a random happy dollar because we have absolutely nothing planned this weekend and I can't wait.
I'm going to Venmo my happy bucks because I used them all. I have happy bucks for my baseball team. We finished our regular season last night. We finished with 10 wins. And again, last year we had 0. So that was a large improvement. And we're going to play in the Bill Sparks tournament next week. Some of the kids are still confused between runs and points and who's the home team and top and bottom of the inning, but they know jerseys should be tucked in and we don't walk on the field. So.
Last weekend, I was talking to Cheryl. Unfortunately, her gorgeous 58 Ford pickup truck got hit in the intersection of by a
Oh, no.
just major damage, just got some pretty bad. Good truck. Nice to meet. Sorry to hear about that.
Got a happy 10. I'd give more, but I'm headed to Vegas tomorrow. And we're going down to see Ringo Starr on Saturday. So that should be a lot of fun.
All right, and I'm going to add an happy five. I didn't realize it, but my wife has multiple personalities. Last weekend, she wanted to go to Yellowstone. So we planned a trip, road trip, going to drive to Spokane, spend the night, drive to Yellowstone, spend the night, spend a couple of days in Yellowstone, had all the hotels booked, trip mapped out and all that. She calls me the next day and says, I don't want to do that. We'll be in Vegas on Sunday. Then driving up into Utah and hiking in Antelope Canyon, one of those little slot canyons that you kind of wind in the narrow areas, and then hike up to or drive up to Arches and hike the Fiery Furnace. What I'm finding is that Vegas or Yellowstone wasn't hot enough, so we're going to the Fiery Furnace and hanging out in Vegas, and it'll be our anniversary coming up this over this weekend too, our 37th. So pretty excited about that too. So, and I think that's it, Mr. President.
Okay, I do have a happy five as well. We did the shakedown cruise on the boat. Went to Gig Harbor for 3 days, came back, everything went well. It's still floating. A little bit of low power on the battery, so that's just gonna buy a new battery for that. So we're all ready to go. Rebecca, where you at? Rebecca, she's still here? Okay, but they've got the cruise, so we're ready to go on the cruise. Any other business from the floor before I turn it over to Deanna? Okay, you gonna introduce? Yep. So Deanna Hammonds from Clear Lake. Stephen?
So yes, Deanna Ammons joining us, Clear Lake historian. She works out at the Clear Lake Museum, and she's saving my butt because I lost my speaker that was scheduled. So I called her last night or yesterday and asked if she would give a presentation. I hope we enjoy it. Use the microphone because we have people that are listening.
Thank you. We're going to talk about salve today, and you might think, what a boring subject. But hopefully you won't think that after I'm finished. I know a lot of you. Thank you for inviting me, and we're going to get right into it. Okay, if you remember the Watkins man, or the Raleigh man, or the McNess Company, they all made salves. And if you want to see some of their salves or salve cans or smell them, they're very potent. You can just come up here and look at these cans. Some of them are empty, but some of them have the salve still in them. This one was menthol camphor ointment, really smelly. But salves at the time, I grew up in the 50s, and we were up in Day Creek, and you could not run to the doctor every time you fell and scratched or something or stepped on a nail or any of that. But salve was a cure-all. I mean, you could just have at her and just use as much, and it didn't hurt you if you overused it. It was good stuff. And I think probably the faith that you had in it had something to do with the healing part of using salve. At my house, we used bag balm. I don't have any cans of bag balm up here, but every farm had a can of bag balm. Started out as udder balm, but you used it on the cows, you used it on the kids, you used it on the husbands, the wives, whatever, you used bag balm. Yes, I still have bag balm in my house. I'm sure you probably, if you've heard of it, you have bag balm. It takes the pain away. So yes, salves were an important part. Now, these companies, Raleigh, Watkins, McNess, all of them, they started in the late 1800s. They were delivered by horse and wagon. That's how you did it back then. So these were old companies, and salve was one of the first things that they made that they delivered to the farms. That was just the way it was. And back then in the late 1800s, there was very, very few women who could drive a car if you had a car. There was very few ways to get to roads, to get to the doctor or whatever. So you had to use your own ingenuity. You had to use what was available, and that was all there was to it. Up in Day Creek, and this was before my time, I remember hearing about a lady whose little kid had stuck a bean up his nose. Now, this has nothing to do with salve because there was nothing that she could do about it. But what she did, she had a fire going in the wood cook stove. And so she had the little boy stand by that stove, and she poured black pepper on the stove. Well, it made the little boy sneeze, and out come the bean. So you can see how using your smarts pays off, especially if you cannot get to a doctor. You have to think of what you're going to do instead. So what I'm going to focus on today is cloverine salve. And now cloverine salve was also introduced in the late 1800s, 1895, I think it was. And but what they did, this company was thinking outside the box, and they had young people sell cloverine. How many of you remember cloverine salve? Anybody? You probably have to be about as old as I am to remember anything about cloverine salve. But I'm going to tell you, because it's affected Sedro Woolley, Clear Lake, Day Creek, anywhere around, you had kids that signed up to sell cloverine salve. And at the same time, they usually sold Grit newspapers, a subscription to Grit newspaper. It went along hand in hand with that. And where you found these ads to sell cloverine salve or Grit newspaper was in the back of or back pages of the comic books. And everyone loved comic books. So you just look back here and you found the address and it'll say, oh, send in 10 cents for shipping and handling or something. And you're a businessman. That was just that's all it took. And also a person, especially a child, looked forward to getting mail, something in the mail. You felt important because it had your name on it. And so, and one of the things that the Wilson chemical company who put out cloverine salve, one of the things they said in their ad was, send no money now, we trust you. Just that 3 little words, we trust you, made a big difference to a child. So they had a lot of kids sign up. And one of the things that attracted these kids was the fact that they gave away prizes, big prizes, good prizes. And you could win anything from a baseball, basketball, a bat, movie projector, a gun, a BB gun, any of those things. And they were well made. They weren't made in China. They didn't fall apart the next day after you got them or something. And so that was the incentive. One of the big prizes was a set of dishes. If you sold enough cloverine salve, you could win a whole set of dishes. Down here, you can see watches. Oh yes, kids really wanted a watch. Wagons were important. Especially back then, you could go around with your wagon, you could ride the wagon, you could pull somebody in the wagon, you could do a lot of things with the wagon. But these prizes were just the best, and they really were tantalizing to a young person. A gal who grew up in Clear Lake, Marie Wood Ringhouse, she sold enough cloverine salve, and she got a copper tea kettle, and it has a little bluebird here at the end of it. She had it up until she passed away a few years ago, and now her daughter has it. But it was just, there was something for everyone when it came to prizes. And the fact that it had your name on it, it was just wonderful. Now, you did make a little bit of money when you sold cloverine salve. It came in a tube like this, had your name on it. I think there was either 12 or 14 cans of salve like this. And here, by the way, is what it looks like. Cloverine salve was, there was just 3 or 4 different parts to it. And you could, a little bit of turpentine oil, a little bit of perfume, that was about it. But it was a clear, and they also had rosebud salve at the same time, and it was kind of a pinky color. But there again, it was for chapped hands. In fact, here it says it was from 1895 for chapped hands, face, lips, and legs, surface burns, mild sunburn, and tired, tender feet. At your druggist or agent, and you can get this called cloverine salve. It was formulated by a physician, let's see, by the Wilson Company in Tyrone, Pennsylvania, where it was from. Yes, it's a petroleum base, and yes, at that time that they were advertising this, it was for different burns and stuff. Today we'd probably dip our hand or whatever in cold water and not that. But one of the other attractive things for people to buy this was For each can of salve that you sold, you gave the person that was buying it, you gave them a choice of all of these different prints that were enclosed in this tube. They were wrapped around these cloverine cans in this tube, and most of them were very peaceful. Like this one, here's one with an angel, here's another one with an angel, religious ones, here's rabbits. I'm very fortunate to have these. The chances of having a collection of these photos is zero. I happen to find them in my mother's stuff when I cleaned out their house. That's the only reason I have them, but it was a real big deal back then. When these kids signed up to sell cloverine salve, they learned a lot. They learned salesmanship. They learned how to be honest. They learned how to be accountable. If you ordered something, you sent back the money. You learned accounting. You added up each can and you subtracted out this and that and the other thing. And then you also, when you went to a house, you had to be presentable. You had to present yourself to begin with. So it was a win-win for the young people to be able to sell this. And like I said, I don't care if you were in Sedro Woolley, Day Creek, or wherever, there were people, especially mothers, when you came to the door and you said, would you like to buy a can of cloverine salve? That mother usually had a quarter. That's how it started out. I have some with quarter, and then it went up to 35 cents and then to 50 cents. Now, I think you can still buy cloverine salve, maybe at your drugstore, but it's like almost $5 a can. So that's how the prices increased. But back then, the mother usually had a quarter to sell, or if you were selling a can of cloverine salve, and she looked at these photos and she picked out the one that she liked. And so it was just a win-win-win for everybody. Until 1967, the Federal Trade Commission made it illegal to have young people sell your product, and they called it luring. And this is their words, to lure young people to sell your product. It was illegal. So that ended all these good times that these kids had. And if you want to go on the internet and read all these stories from older people who have sold cloverine salve, all the good things, all the prizes they won, it was just unbelievable what a good thing it was. But the Federal Trade Commission in 1967 ended it all. So there was no more, you'll never see a kid coming to your door selling cloverine salve. It's just not going to happen now. When I was a kid, my older brother sold cloverine. That's how I know about cloverine salve, is because of that fact. And it looked very familiar to me because my mother bought a lot of the cans of cloverine salve. So we had it all around our house. So do you have any questions about early salves, cloverine salve, rosebud salve? Any questions? Yes. Is it 20? Oh gosh, the last time I looked, it was $5 or around $5 a can. But at the rate things are going up, I can see why that would be almost $20 a can. So another question. More questions? I need, yes, back there, Mark. I don't have time. I just finished doing a lecture up in Ferndale on feed sack, flour sack fabric. And up there, as soon as I finished, some lady from Vancouver, BC asked me if I would come up there and talk to her group of quilters. And I said, well, I don't think so. I now have to take my whole collection of feed sack, flour sack, which is over 100 pieces, I have to label them, number them, and then I'm doing my own show or exhibit over at the Quilting Museum in La Conner. I have to have everything over there by the 16th of August. And then I collect that at the end of September, and I go to Everett to do a lecture on October 7th in the afternoon on feedsack flour sack fabric. So yes, I keep myself hopping. Yes.
What are some of the hardest times you've experienced in your life and why? From your early, like
From my early days, you know, my life has really been good. I don't have any complaints. But
this region, what were some of the hardest times?
You know, when I was a kid, I grew up in Day Creek, but we worried about the Russians coming over to bomb us. That was what our worry was. Now, some people were building bomb shelters at that time, but that kind of went away. And in reality, probably I've had it really good. I haven't had that many worries. I know that when we were children in the 50s, my mother worried about us getting polio. I don't know how many of you remember when polio was rampant, but, and it was, I mean, it could do a number on you. I mean, it could kill you, it could maim you, it could do a lot of things. But she had heard that if you could touch your chin to your chest, that meant you didn't have it. And I remember every week, my mother would make us touch our chin to our chest to prove that we did not have it. And as soon as that polio vaccine became available, off to the doctor we went. I mean, she loaded us up and hauled us to the doctor because polio was just a devastating disease. That's all there was to it. That was the one that we also had, of course, TB test to make sure, you know, that we were vaccinated. They gave them in the schools for that. But TB, I don't remember. We had the vaccine by the time I had the TB shots. So, but the diseases that went around, if you do early history research, there was something out there for everybody. And it was amazing how the diphtherias and the typhoids and all these different things that were around here. And then you would be put into, your house would be put under quarantine if you had it. So nobody could come in or go out. It was a devastating time, but I never experienced any of that. We had our shots, and so they were available when I was growing up. So yes.
Just a quick comment. Thank you. It kind of reminded me of something when I was a kid. My great grandfather was a walking.
Oh, uh-huh.
Picture of him with his cart.
Yes.
We always had these red and white tin stalls that were on every day. I just looked it up. Apparently it was a Watkins picture style.
Okay. Okay. Yes, Watkins was well known. And, you know, we loved it when the Watkins man or the Raleigh man or the Fuller Brush man came to our house. We was excited because it broke up the monotony of living in the country. And some of them would give you a piece of gum. We'd give all the kids a piece of gum. And that kept you, you know, busy chewing this gum while he sold something to the mom. I was reading that a lot of those early salesmen, they wore shoes a size larger than they were supposed to, just so they could pull off their shoes at the door and easily and come on in. Yes, so it was a different lifestyle back then. It was just fun to see these guys come to your house, and then they would share the news if they had heard anything that was going on in the community or whatever. So yeah, it was fun times. I've always enjoyed it. More questions? I appreciate being here. You're always a great audience. I love coming here. So thank you so much for the questions and answers and whatever. Okay.
Deanna, thank you very much. As always, a great program. We do have a parting gift for you from the greatest Rotary Club in the universe, this pen to maybe fill out all your memoirs or something. So with that, I'd like to keep Dawn in our thoughts right now, and we will get some clarity on the dues. I think we have it figured out, and we'll talk and get it all figured out from there. So is there any other business from the floor? With that, I'll close the meeting for today for the greatest Rotary Club in the